And we are live. What's going on, guys? Just want to make sure all the ducks are in a row. Make sure you can hear me loud and clear. Let's get everything lined up right here. We are live. Guys, in the comments below, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. What up from Sydney? Sydney is checking in. Oh yeah, I can see that. We're just making sure that everything is good. We're gonna do a lot more of these live feeds. If you're new to our channel, welcome. I gotta turn down this right here. I'm gonna hear myself. What up, checking in? What up, Tim from Boise, Idaho? Trek Fowler, what up, what up? Era checking in from Cali. We're gonna dive in real quickly, but we have been trying to figure out how to best properly put out content. We've been trying a bunch of different things, creating and editing videos, going live. We've been doing a lot of stuff through all different types of social media channels, and we have found that it works best for us to just go live, interact with you guys. What up, Chi-Town, Bear, Cub, and answer questions and create our content that way. So for the 25 or 30 of you that are jumping in, what up, Alex? Thank you so much for your time and attention. This series is called TF100P. Now that's of course an abbreviation for the first 100 pairs. We want to focus our content around getting you sales, getting you 100 pairs sold. So this is obviously meant for beginner resellers. To give you a quick recap, and then we're going to dive into what the main theme of today's live feed is in terms of how to get started as a full-time reseller, sharing our personal experience. What up, Look Mom? What up, Ninja? What up, Kath W? Thank you so much for checking in. We have present day, we've sold over 14,000 pairs of shoes on multiple marketplaces. We've built our entire business sourcing from places that you can source from yourself, selling on marketplaces that you can sell on yourself. We started with $0. We had no money when we first started. We went full time before we sold our first pair, which is what we're gonna get into very shortly. But we felt that being successful shoe resellers and enjoying sharing the content, we felt that we wanted to get back to the roots, talk about where we started, and answer a lot of the questions that we get on a daily basis in terms of how to get started, when to become a full-time reseller. Maybe you don't need to be a full-time reseller, and there's a few things that you can adjust, make a few little tweaks here and there, make a small pivot, and make enough money that you, for whatever amount of money you want to make per month. So we've got everyone's checking in. If you could hit that like button, it really means a lot to us. It helps us spread the word a little bit more. And if you decide to subscribe to our channel, our content's always going to be free. We're always going to share you absolutely everything that we do and how we do it. We don't leave anything out. Our content is always free, and we're always showing, like when we make small pivots here and there, what we do. All right, that's the intro. My name is Ryan. My beautiful wife, Lindsay, and I, we go by Rnzy. We only resell shoes. We've tried a bunch of other stuff in the very beginning, but we've built our entire business, our six-figure, after taxes, shoe reselling business, reselling footwear. What up, Jay Dunkey? What up, Lawrence? Dang, Alex Hino, because of you, you've sold over $2,500 on eBay. That is insane. Congratulations on breaking that $2,500 mark. You got some momentum. Keep it going. All right, so the way that these TF100P episodes are going to be structured is not so much structured, but the first 10 or 15 minutes we're gonna give you, we're gonna get the ball rolling with some commentary on either what's going on right now. We'll probably stick to categories like how we're sourcing, where we're selling, brands we're looking for. But today, the title of today's video is how we got started as a full-time reseller. So we're gonna give you just a quick, very brief, how we built our business, and then we're gonna dive into some of those questions that you guys have. So keep the questions coming. As soon as we get over that quick recap, I'm gonna dive in and answer absolutely all the questions that you have. For those of you that are wondering, we are currently in our apartment. We've built our entire business working out of wherever we lived. There was a point in time, hey-o, Alex Tino, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. That means the world to us. Thank you, my friend. Sending our best from Maine to you, Alex. Thank you. We built our entire business wherever we were living. We have tested working out of storage units, but currently we're running a 6-figure shoe reselling business out of our apartment. You can see right in the corner of the video right here, there's a little ladder. Next to that ladder, there's a staircase that goes up into the loft in our apartment. That's where all of our shoe inventory is kept. We were doing some shoe cleaning on this table right here, and then our apartment where we live down the hallway back here. Actually, straight back, there's what we call a boot room. We do all of our consignment. Right now we have a big consignee who brings us a ton of boots, and so there's a boot room, and where we sleep is over there, and everything there. So no excuses. We have a 6-figure shoe reselling business out of our apartment, but we didn't start with a six-figure shoe reselling business. We started with $0, no idea what we're doing. Lindsay was fired from her job. I had a job that I didn't really care about. I was bartending in Portland, Maine. We, at the time, were very devastated when Lindsay got fired because it was very emotional to both of us. It was unexpected, and it put us in a place where we had to make a decision. That decision was in June of 2017, a little over 3 years ago, and we said either she could go get another job that maybe she didn't like but obviously made money, and I could continue the job that I didn't really like that much, bartending in Portland, Maine, or we've seen people do this reselling thing. We could dive in head first and see if we could do it ourselves, and we decided that we could always go get another job that we didn't enjoy that would pay the bills. Why not try this thing that looks fun? And so before we sold our very, very first pair of shoes, we were full-time resellers. In that very first month, in June of 2017, we paid all of our bills through our profits in reselling. So right off the bat, we're not recommending you do this, but we're gonna show by example what we did. We started with the shoes in our closet because, like we said, we didn't have any money. We had $0. We couldn't go to the outlets. We couldn't even go to the thrifts and spend money. So we looked in our closet, and we each had a couple extra pairs that were in good condition, no rips or tears, no funky smell. And we thought, hey, why don't we start with these? Facebook Marketplace was literally the only marketplace we really knew of. We had heard of eBay, but we had never really used it. And so we decided to put our shoes up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. We put our shoes up for sale. I think Lindsay had 2 pairs. I had 2 pairs. Nothing crazy. Again, they weren't like Jordans that we had in the closet or like a pair of Louis Vuittons that she had, chilling for a night out with the ladies. It was literally like I had like a pair of Under Armour running shoes. She had a pair of Nike running shoes. We posted them up for $25 a pair because we didn't know what we should price them out at, and we thought $25 would be good. Right off the bat, a gentleman reached out to me and said, hey, I want to buy those Under Armour shoes for 25 bucks. Can you meet me at the grocery store? We went and met him. As he approached us, this guy was huge. He was massive. And the reason I add that into the story for you to think about is I'm a men's 10.5, a men's 11. If I really like the shoes, maybe I'll go down to like a men's 9.5 or 10, or maybe even up to like a men's 11.5 if I really, really love the shoes. But this was a men's 10.5 pair of Under Armour running shoes for $25. This man approached me in the grocery store parking lot, and I was like, oh crap, I must have not put the right size in the listing, because as he was approaching me, I saw his feet and they're humongous. There's no way. So he was like, here's the $25. I handed him the shoes hesitantly, and I said, these are a men's 10.5. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I said, do you want to try them on? And he's like, no, I'm good. And he gave me the money, and I go, man, this is like my first sale. I'd feel better if you tried them on, because I'd feel bad if they don't fit you. And again, I'm looking down at his feet, and clearly he's got gigantic feet. We're talking like men's 14 or 15. So just to appease me, he tries to jam his foot into my men's 10.5 Under Armour running shoes, and you could see the knuckles of his toes were trying to like push out the front, and his heel was still like, and he's like, these are fine. And so I had to ask him, I said, why are you buying these shoes for $25? Like, clearly they don't fit you. And he goes, well, I'm gonna resell these for $50. And right off the bat, something clicked, and I was like, holy smokes, not only do people, and I was okay with that because my price was $25 and he was paying the price that I wanted, and I got my $25, and I was like, whoa, this is our first sale, here we go. But something clicked in our mind where there was a market, not only obviously for shoes, but for used shoes. So we dove head first. Now we had a buying budget of $25. We sold Lindsay's pairs for $25. We sold my pairs for $25. And then a friend of ours said, hey, you can go to the thrift stores. They have shoes at the thrift stores. No, Matthew, we have not kept in touch with that buyer. We wish we did. Hopefully the gentleman sees some of our content eventually and says, hey, I'm the guy that bought the very first pair from you. But since then, and very quickly, from June 2017, probably not even 3 months out, we had already sold 1,200 pairs on Facebook Marketplace. Let me tell you how we did that. We took that $25 that we just got from that first sale, and then we took the $25 that we got from selling some of Lindsay's pairs, and then the $25 from another pair of mine, and we had a small buying budget. We started going to the thrifts and finding pairs under $10. We'd bring them home, we'd clean them, we'd hand clean them, make sure they were all nice and neat, no rips or tears, no funky smell, and then we'd post them up for $25 on Facebook, and we would just keep doing that process. Sell a pair for $25, buy it for under $10 at the local thrifts, and boom, boom, boom. And it might sound crazy, and we were doing all local deliveries in Maine, in our local area, and we very quickly, within about 2 months, a little over 2 months, sold 1,200 pairs for $25 per pair. We paid all of our bills for the first couple months, and ever since then, we were kind of off and running. True story, Braden, no excuses. Steven says, thanks for all the great content. I currently flip books on Amazon, looking to up my game and achieve the holy grail status of full-time reseller. Steven, it's very, very doable. Today, I was in a warehouse with one of our friends, Ben, who is currently living in Maine. He's a full-time reseller with a lot of things, but he does a ton of books. And so whether it's books, whether it's shoes, whether it's electronics, whether it's movies, DVD, whatever it is, you can be a full-time reseller. We do shoes. You can apply kind of some of the things that we're talking about now to whatever niche or category you're doing. So we built some momentum. We built our entire business on Facebook Marketplace, and then we hit kind of a limit to the amount of deliveries we could do every day. We were posting all the shoes that we had sourced and cleaned every day. We were posting them, and then the next day we were doing all these deliveries. We built out a whole team, and we'll get further into the intricacies of Facebook Marketplace. We do have videos here on our channel talking about that. We built a whole team of people around the area that were listing, and Lindsay and I were doing all the deliveries, and then we were sourcing, we were cleaning everything, we were then sending all the photos to everyone, they were listing in all the groups that they had. The moral of the story that you're gonna see throughout all of our content is there's no excuses, there's always a way that you can build. So we're paying all of our bills, we're scaling our business, only reselling on Facebook Marketplace, only reselling to people in our local area, like within 25 to 50 miles of where we lived. And then of course, yeah, Braden, it's Ben Books, that's who I was talking about, that sells the books on Amazon. And he's crushing in the card game too, so that's someone we're learning a lot from as well. So we then obviously realized that we couldn't scale our business any further. There's only so much time in the day that you can deliver locally, so we started looking into marketplaces where we could actually ship. We jumped right into eBay because it's the only other one that we knew. We built up a little bit of momentum on eBay, selling $5,000 or $6,000 per month. We were still delivering locally, but we supplemented and grew our business by adding an online marketplace where we could ship stuff out daily and also deliver daily. We built some momentum, and then we started getting frustrated with eBay. Again, we didn't really understand that there was other marketplaces. And it started to be less fun. There started to be glitches on eBay. We're not going to spend any time now downplaying how big of a business you can grow on eBay, but for us as resellers, it just there was more headaches than was worth the profit. So we started jumping on YouTube, we started jumping on Instagram, thanks for the thumbs up, appreciate it. We started looking at if there was any other marketplaces. We still were doing eBay, we're still doing Facebook, but then we came across Poshmark, we came across Mercari, and we said, okay, why don't we test these other marketplaces and trickle out some inventory and see if we can't build some momentum and see how we like it. The moral of the story, as we've grown over the last 3 years, we have always tried things, given it a fair chance, and then decided, is this good for our business or is it not? And what we found, I personally did not like Poshmark when we first started. Lindsay said, hey, you got to give it a chance. You got to say, You got to understand that it's different than eBay, it's different than Facebook. And so then when I said, okay, let me take a step back, instead of being like, oh, I don't like this because it's new, I don't like this, you got to like share your listings every day. Why don't I just try my hardest based on the pros and cons of Poshmark and see what we can do. And then very quickly our business skyrocketed on Poshmark to the point where we made a decision. We didn't even need to sell on eBay anymore. We were selling so much on Poshmark and enjoying it. We took all of our inventory down off of eBay and put all of our efforts into Poshmark and Facebook Marketplace. And then as a couple months went by, we started realizing that we didn't need to work as much, meaning we didn't need to be doing deliveries all day, every day, and shipping full-time on Poshmark, because the Poshmark income was enough where we could pull back a little bit on Facebook. Now, here's the moral of this part of our story is you do not have to, as a full-time reseller, you do not have to be working 15, 20, 23 hours per day. You do not. In the beginning, we had no money, so we had to put a lot of sweat equity in. We had to go to all the thrifts. We had to hand clean everything. We had to be driving around. It was important for us to be able to pay our bills. And at that point of our reseller career, that's what we had to do. We had to put way more sweat equity in because we didn't have a lot of money. And then as we started gaining a little bit more money and a lot more knowledge, we could start focusing more on maybe looking at the outlets, maybe sourcing more and spending more time listing things on Poshmark and less time delivering locally. You can make these small pivots. You don't have to make $1 million. You just have to make enough so that you can do the things that you want to do. And maybe you do have a big lofty goal of making $1 million, and that's completely okay. But for us, we wanted to be able to pay all our bills, have some free time, and never have to say no when opportunities came up. As a full-time reseller, you make your own schedule and it's 100% on you. So when you want to go do something, all you have to do is ask yourself, do I want to go do this? And you either say yes or no. You don't have to ask a boss. You don't have to ask a family member. You just have to say, do I want to go do this? Yes. Do I want to go do this? No. And that's the life that we want to live. So we started realizing Poshmark's great. Poshmark's great. The headaches on eBay aren't worth it for us anymore. We dropped eBay. We pulled back a little bit on Facebook, and then we said, hey, we're testing some other marketplaces. We really liked Mercari. It was very similar in how you list to Poshmark. It was very easy to cross-list, so then we added Mercari. Present day, we've sold over $325,000 after fees on Poshmark. We've sold over $80,000 on Mercari after fees. We've done well over $50,000 on Facebook Marketplace, and then we've done over $50,000 on StockX. The moral of the story is we're trying to tell you there's so many different marketplaces out there. There's so many different ways to win that you do not have to use one. You also do not have to use several. You can use the ones you like, try a bunch of different ones, understand that they are different, and understand the pros and cons of each one, and then pour gas on the one that you like. Now, we've talked about how we dropped eBay, we didn't like it. We're not going to sit here and pretend that you can't build a multi-million-dollar successful reselling business on eBay, because you can. Some people don't like eBay, some people love it. Some people don't like Poshmark, some people love it. Some people don't like Mercari, some people love it. That's the point of the story. Some people hate Facebook Marketplace and never want to meet up with anyone in person, and other people love Facebook Marketplace and want to meet people. That's the whole point, guys, and you're going to hear from us consistently 1,000 times over. Try a bunch, take away the ones you don't like, and pour gas on the ones, because the reality is people are building monster businesses every single day on all of these marketplaces, and we've probably tried 24 other ones, Letgo, OfferUp, what was that, Virage Sale, and a bunch of other crazy ones that we don't use anymore, but we've had sales on them, and we said, hey, this is good, but it's not as good as we want it to be for us, and so we've narrowed it down. Present day, we sell all of our shoes on Poshmark, Mercari, StockX, Facebook Marketplace. We do a little bit on GOAT, and that's it. And that could change tomorrow depending on how things are going. But the reality is, set a goal, a yearly goal, a quarterly goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal. And if you want to be a full-time reseller, you better know how much you need to make every single month to pay your bills, so that you know what you have to do every single day in order to hit that goal. And that's something that we did very, very early on in the beginning. We said, okay, it's June 2017. We haven't sold any pairs yet, but we want to be full-time resellers. Holy smokes, what does that mean? How much do we need to be making on, how much are our bills? We're talking roof over your head, food in your belly, shirt on your back, how much do we need to make in the month of June in 2017 in order to pay all those bills? I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what that number was, but come July 1st, we had all the money to pay our bills and we were off and running and we were enjoying ourselves. A couple other things that I want to talk about. There's been some big moments in our reselling adventure over the last 3+ years where we've had kind of these aha moments. That first sale was an aha moment. Understanding that there was different marketplaces, that we didn't have to use eBay if we wanted to sell online, that was an aha moment. Understanding that we could, holy smokes, use multiple marketplaces at the same time. That's something that people run into when they're first starting off. Is thank you, Mark, for the thumbs up. Really, really appreciate it. Sean said, hey, Ryan, just want you to know you're one of my favorite reseller YouTubers. Got me motivated to get my business going. Within 3 weeks, I made 15 hundo. Sean, 15 hundo in your first 3 weeks is berserk. That's quick. That's a quicker start than we got. So we're happy. Lindsay and I are pumped that the content that we are sharing is helping people get wins for 2 reasons. If you are a reseller with a mindset like you have to hide everything, it becomes a very... Oh, my wife is currently watching the US Open and Coco Gauff just lost. I thought she was saying, oh, it glitched, but she is focusing on the US Open right now. What was I saying? I totally forgot. Do you remember what I was saying? We're talking about building momentum. So these aha moments. A lot of people get stuck when they start trying all these different marketplaces. You don't need to use all these different marketplaces, and you shouldn't until you have one marketplace on point. Like we had Facebook Marketplace on point before we even thought about using eBay. And then we had a consistent between the two. We were hitting more than our goal financially. That's when we decided, hey, we're not really digging eBay, so why don't we try this third one? Because if it fails, we're still clicking on these two. And then when Poshmark was going so well, we could drop eBay. And so the reality is, you have to always figure out what works best for you and how you function. For us, eBay didn't work really well because it was confusing with the fees, and there was just headache moments and these glitches. Again, no excuses. You can build a monster business on eBay, but once we built once we understood that we liked Poshmark, aka another marketplace outside of that, we poured gas on that, and then present day we've sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars after that 20% fee on Poshmark. It brings in thousands of dollars every single week, and we trickle out inventory as a backup plan now on Facebook Marketplace. So another aha moment that we had was this idea of sourcing in different locations. So up until that point, we had been just going to the local thrifts, Goodwills, Salvation Armies. I think that's all we had in the area when we were doing that time. These high volume thrifts where there's lots of shoes. Emphasis, guys, listen to what I'm saying right now. Emphasis on high volume thrifts. We have done videos on this here on our YouTube channel. What we mean by that is when you're going into a high volume thrift, that means there's a lot of shoes there. There's a lot of shoes coming in, which means there has to be a lot of shoes going out, which means normally in high volume thrifts, there's tiered discounts. They'll either do like one big discount a month. First Thursday of the month, everything's $1 or 50% off. Or they'll do tiered discounts, which means this color is half off this day, this color is $1. It's different in every region across the country, but high volume thrifts is key. What you do not want to do is go to low volume thrifts where there's a small shoe section, there's not a lot of stuff coming in all the time, because the reality is it's going to be hard to get consistent inventory there that's really, really good. It's easier and more, it's easier to, when you're going to high volume thrifts, because they've always got donations coming in, which means they've got to reduce the price, which means as a reseller, you're getting low buy cost, more opportunity. You're going to say no to a lot more shoes because there's a lot of junk, but you're going to find more wins in high volume thrifts. Then our aha moment was, holy smokes, there's people sourcing new shoes at places like the Outlets, Marshalls, Burlington. We don't go to Ross because there's not one within 8 hours of us, but that's another example of a high volume sourcing spot. Ross, Burlington, Marshalls, where there's lots of inventory coming in, which means a lot has to go out. And then we realized, holy smokes, people can buy new shoes and then flip those new shoes onto these marketplaces. And then we were off and running. We've had shifts where we did all used shoes in the beginning, and then we switched our business model to all new shoes, and then we switched it to half and half. Present day, we're still right around half and half. We do probably 50, 60, I would say even push 70% of our inventory is used shoes, and then 30, 40, sometimes 50% of our inventory is brand new shoes. Again, Poshmark, Mercari, StockX, Facebook Marketplace. Those are the marketplaces we are currently selling. We love sharing our content because we've built our entire business model around things that absolutely everyone can do. One of the misclaim or the myths, that's what I meant to say. One of the myths is people reach out and they're like, Rnzy, your thrifts are so much better. Rnzy, your outlets are so much better. Rnzy, your Marshalls are so much better. We travel all around New England, up and down the East Coast, and sometimes all the way as far west as Michigan and up in parts of Canada when we're sourcing. So when people reach out and say your thrifts are so much better, a lot of times we're in their thrifts. When they say, hey, I wish my outlet was best, and we say, what state are you in? And they say New Jersey, and we take a selfie in front of the Welcome to New Jersey sign and say, we've been sourcing in New Jersey for 3 days. People get boggled. The reality is, wherever you are right now, you can find wins. The reality is, the title of this video is how we got started full time. You should not spend any money until you've sold some shoes out of your own closet. Period. If you want to bounce from the video right now and start there, that's exactly where you should start. That's where we started, because you might find out you love shoes, but you might find out you don't like reselling shoes. So it makes no sense to get into this and put your hard-earned money into this without understanding if you like it or not. Plus, if you start with the shoes in your closet, then there's your buying budget. And one thing that we call our unfair advantage is we started with $0. So when that first pair of Under Armour sold for $25, we said, how can we maximize this $25? And we went to the thrift, we found 2 pairs. We could buy 2 pairs with that $25. We were like, holy smokes, game on. Then we cleaned them up, took photos of them with our phones, put them up on Facebook Marketplace, and sold them both for $25 each. Now we got $50. Holy smokes, let's go back to that thrift and see if we can find 5 pairs now, each under $10, no rips or tears, and then sell those 5 pairs for $25 a piece. Now we're talking $125, and we're rolling in the dough, we think, in the beginning. Now, we started with a buying budget of 0. Present day, 3.5 years later, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on inventory every single week, because we've built our buying budget and our business and our knowledge. You have to build that base before you can dive in. It makes no sense, in our opinion, to just say, hey, I want to invest $200 into this. I've never done it. What do I buy? Like, start with the shoes in your closet. We recommend, even no matter what the shoes are, sell them for $25, because you're going to build a great relationship, even if you have some dope pairs. Ronald, above 20K in California. Oh, people are asking questions about taxes. Sean, I pray you keep being successful. Thank you so much. You and your wife deserve every bit of it. Thank you for the kind words, Sean. Really appreciate it. Jeff, how many stores do you do in a day and how often? Jeff, we're going to talk about sourcing in future videos, but always want to answer questions as quickly as we can. It really depends on what our buying budget that is that week, because we always, from the very beginning, we had a pair of bills in June of 2017. We did. Then the next month in July of 2017, we had money left over. So we were like, all right, like, let's put a little bit into savings, and then let's also look into other places. So we started locally, and then we started expanding our sourcing routes. So it really depends. Like short sourcing routes within 25, let's go time-wise. Within an hour of us, we might be able to hit 10 stops. Trek Fowler, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Really, really do appreciate it. Atomic Couple missing 50% today. Just thanks. Thank you so much. That means the world to us. Thank you so much for the super chat. So I was talking about sourcing. So a local sourcing route might be, maybe like 10 locations. We might go to a bunch of Goodwills, Salvation Armies. We only have two Marshalls that I know of here in Maine, and 1 Burlington. There might be another, Maine's a big state. There might be another Marshalls and another Burlington a couple hours north, but there's 1 Burlington and 2 Marshalls in the state of Maine. So we might be able to hit those. But then on our big sourcing routes, we've done multiple day, like 3-day trips where we'll spend the night in an inexpensive hotel. You can find hotels for under $100, that are a 3 or 4 star. that are good, but they don't cost a lot of money. And we'll go on 3-4 day sourcing trips, sometimes all the way as far west as Michigan and up into Canada, or as far south as New Jersey. And then at that point, we're hitting 30, 40, 50, 60 different locations. Again, today's video is about how to get started. That's as you progress as a full-time reseller. And maybe you choose the RA route, which is retail arbitrage, versus the OA route, which is online arbitrage. There are great resellers that order all their inventory online and get it shipped to them. We haven't had experience in that. We haven't found inventory as profitable as retail arbitrage when we're sourcing online, so we've stuck to retail arbitrage. All right, let me dive into a few questions. Let's see. Kath, I had one pair of sneakers and one pair going out of shoes. Hopefully that's one pair sold out of one. Oh, Sean is sharing by example. Guys, there's nothing, here's what's so special about our story. We literally spent 0 seconds on excuses. 0. The biggest mistake we made in the beginning was when we started looking on Instagram and looking on YouTube for all the questions that we had. We started comparing ourselves to other resellers, and we started getting discouraged. Even though we were paying all of our bills reselling shoes, those first couple months we were like, man, we're not selling 20 pairs a day. Like we must not be that good. Not really recognizing that, holy smokes, starting from not knowing anything. First month we paid all our bills. Second month we paid all our bills. We've paid all our bills every single month since we started. Now we've got a ton of money in savings. We're looking to buy our first house with the shoe money. We're looking to buy land to present day. But in the very beginning, we were comparing ourselves to other resellers. And then it started to like discourage us a little bit. Then we said, all right, enough's enough, no comparing. Let's just try to beat what we did yesterday. And then that was another aha moment. We catapulted our business. It sounds cliche, it sounds kind of kumbaya, but learn from other resellers. There's resellers here in Maine that are multi-million-dollar shoe resellers that we are constantly trying to absorb information on. We're by no means even close to the biggest resellers, even in New England, even in Maine, our state, but we're happy with what we're doing as we're always trying to improve a little bit. How much did you start with budget-wise? $0. It's a really good question. Have you formed a business entity? Conscious shift. Have you formed a business entity like an LLC or an S corp? Not yet, but we're looking into the pros and cons of that. Right now, we're a limited liability company. And if you go to our Instagram and you scroll down, we did an interview with a CPA, a professional tax consultant. What does CPA stand for? Whatever CPA is. It's a professional tax individual. He's an amazing guy. On Instagram, he's called Not Your Dad's CPA, and he works specifically with resellers. Any tax questions that you guys might have, you should go to him. We won't give you the best advice because there's so many different intricacies when it comes to taxes and different state stuff. But make sure you have your ducks in a row. From the very beginning, we kept track of everything on an Excel spreadsheet so that it didn't catch us by surprise when we were doing our taxes. But ask him all of your questions. Any little Rnzy's PL next? I'm not sure what you're asking, Kath. Are you asking if we're gonna have kids next? What? You're asking if we have kids? Yeah, of course. Well, that's the plan. We want to have little kids so we can give them the dopest shoes in the world. My brother just had a new baby who's about to turn 1, actually, so a year ago had a baby, and we've been outfitting our niece with dope little shoes. And so yeah, our plan is absolutely to have kids. We're super excited for that chapter of our life when it happens. The next big thing that we want is going to be buying a house, which we're going to do in the next couple months. Within the next year for sure, we're going to be buying a house, and then we're going to start having little Rnzys, and we're super excited about that. Thanks for asking. Thank you, Conscious Shift, Certified Public Accountant. That's what CPA stands for. If you guys have questions in the comments below, also guys, smash that like button. We really do appreciate all 77 of you. We want to have this type of content where we kind of set the stage. We only are going to talk about what we do ourselves. There's so many different ways to win as a shoe reseller. And so we're by no means the only way, but we are a way that works best for us. And we are showing a way that you can absolutely, no matter what kind of lifestyle you want to live, can pay all of your bills and then some. And it's important to us. There's enough inventory in the world. There's enough people that are buying shoes in the world, and there's enough marketplaces to sell that inventory that we can share all of our quote unquote secrets with all of you, and there's still enough room for all of us to get our piece of the pie. Matthew Byron. Do you think Poshmark Mercari will add more methods of payouts, Venmo? Oh, that's Rnzy. What up, Rnzy? Yes, I do think that Poshmark and Mercari will continue to innovate. I don't think they're going anywhere. They're both. Poshmark has over 50 million active users. Mercari has over 30 million active users. They're not even close to as big as Amazon and eBay, but they're huge, and they're always innovating, always doing updates, and so they will, if it makes sense, they will add it. Which we really do like about both Poshmark and Mercari. Marak 7, your percentage new versus used shoes. So I talked about it earlier. It's shifted. When we first started, it was 100% used shoes, and then we switched over into 100% new shoes, and then we kind of backed up because the margins on used shoes are so good. It's insane. You put a little sweat equity into a shoe by cleaning it, and the profits are amazing. But now our business model currently, we sell between 75 and 85 brands every single month, and it's roughly half and half. It might lean more towards used shoes, so like 60-40, 60% used, 40% new. You can win with both. If you want to be all used shoes, you can be a full-time reseller with all used shoes. If you want to be all brand new shoes, because you can't imagine cleaning someone else's shoes, you can do it with new shoes. There's pros and cons to both. Trek, do you think Posh will go international? They've already started with Poshmark Canada, so the answer is yes, they're international. They're talking about Poshmark Australia, I think, and Poshmark Europe. The interesting question after that, they are going international, is will we in the US be able to sell on those marketplaces? Because right now in the US, you cannot, as far as we know, sell from the US to Canada. So that'll be interesting. That'll blow the doors wide open if a Poshmark seller from the US could sell to people in Canada or to people in Australia. That would be dope. The great thing, if you're a new reseller, about Poshmark is they've negotiated a really, really amazing deal when it comes to shipping with USPS. So everything under 5 pounds ships for $7.11 anywhere. You don't have to worry about anything. And most shoes, 99% of the shoes, weigh under 5 pounds. And to be honest, we've sold multiple pair bundles on Poshmark, and the shipping's still $7.11 to the buyer because up to 5 pounds. I mean, you'll have some big men's boots or some unique women's style heavier shoes that might weigh more than 5 pounds, and then it's only a couple dollars more. But that's a big unlock that Poshmark has negotiated, because you don't find that on other marketplaces when it comes to the shipping part. And it's super, super simple. You just print the label and ship. We run our entire business, again, for the people that are new, we run our entire business from our iPhone 7 Pluses. We don't own a computer. We have an iPad because it came with our phones when we bought them. We got the family plan. We got 2 iPhone 7 Pluses, and they're like, hey, we'll throw in an iPad. We don't own a computer. We got a wireless inkjet printer at the thrift. We use that to print. We don't use the thermal printer. We use free boxes from USPS. We use free sticker labels that we put in the printer from USPS. Guys, no excuses. You can build a monster full-time business, and you don't need all the hoopla. We've got all our shoes up in the sneaker loft. Let me see if I can tilt this up. There's our sneaker loft up there. You can see the edge of it. It's, what is it, like 15 by 15? It's like a 15 by 15 square foot room. Yo, Carlos, what up, my man? Yo, what's up, guys? Just checking in as always to say thanks. I've been following your steps for a year, and it's been a blessing. Carlos means the world to us. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you tuning in for the longevity over a year. Those of you that have been following us since the beginning in 3 years, we really appreciate. We've done a lot more on YouTube recently, but Carlos, thank you so much. Happy what we're sharing is helping. If you guys have questions, keep them coming in the comments below. We love connecting with you guys. Also, this is the type of content we like to put out because we like interacting with you guys, and I am not as into editing videos. Again, there's people that are really, really good at shooting stuff and editing it and putting it out. We're more interested in interacting with the 75 plus people that are on here and spending your time. And because the most valuable thing that you could possibly ask from another human is their time, That's why we like doing Q&A, is because if you guys got questions, let's dive into those questions. If we can answer those questions, we will. If we can't, we'll try to direct you into someone who can. Matthew says, Rnzy says, speaking of USPS, glad you said that. I need to reload those shoe boxes. Yeah, here's a pro tip when it comes to the free shoe boxes. Yes, you can order them online. Yes, you can get them from your local post office, but we recommend calling the 1-800-USPS number and ordering that way. That's what we've done since the beginning, before we realized you could order on the website, before we realized you could get them at the post office, because here's what happens. The post office runs out, and sometimes it takes way longer when you order through the website to get those free boxes. Again, they're absolutely free. You have to be using USPS shipping to get the free boxes and to use them, obviously. But when we've ordered on the phone, we've always got our boxes within 10 days. I mean, we order thousands and thousands of boxes. They come in bundles of 25. We use the USPS shoe box and the USPS 1095 box. Again, we have videos. How we ship shoes explains all of our shipping. Steven, how far should you be willing to drive to meet someone for a Facebook Marketplace pickup? How do you determine how much to charge for local deliveries? And how should you set your local area? So, Steven, that's a really good question, and you're going to get a bunch of answers from me right now. There's no way to look up comps or completed sales on Facebook Marketplace, so it's always good to price a little bit high, and then if it's not selling, come back down. But the best possible thing that you can do on any marketplace as a new reseller to build momentum is try to eliminate as much friction as you possibly can. We thought about this in the very beginning, and we thought $25 was a great price point. We saw that in our local thrifts, you could find inventory for $10 or under, and we were happy buying a pair for $10 and selling it for $25. We were happy with those margins. Yes, you got to think about gas. Yes, you got to think about driving around. Now, to answer your question, how far you're willing to drive or how much you want to charge for delivery, eliminate the friction. Zero charge for delivery. Eliminate the friction. We'll deliver, stay safe, of course. We'll deliver wherever it's convenient for you, your local grocery store, your local police station, your local post office, your local bank. You obviously want to go to public areas that are safe, but eliminate that friction. We saw that other people were trying to resell shoes, and they were saying, no, I'm not going to come to you. You got to come to me, and they wouldn't get the sale. We were like, boom, we're coming to you. Now, you obviously cannot be driving 100 miles to sell a $25 pair of shoes. But the last thing I want to share about this idea of you narrowing down your business model, delivering, every single sale is a relationship. So because our pairs were only $25, and because we were willing to go to them wherever they were, and I mean, we weren't going to people's houses, we were obviously meeting them in their local area. And we're back. All right, guys. We made it back. There's a slight delay. Okay, so the biggest thing that I think people overlook is the value of relationships. When you sell someone a great pair and they're happy about the price and they're happy about the pair, they're gonna come back to you and buy from you again. And it's basic word of mouth marketing. They're gonna say, hey, I got this great pair of shoes from, and we just got a sweet text from our friend about a card that we're gonna buy. Ben said it was a good buy, so we gotta buy that card. Where was I at? Oh, the relationship. So when people are pumped, they start telling their family and friends. So that's how our business grew too. People were buying shoes and then saying, hey, my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my dad, my son, my daughter, like we all need shoes. And then we were off and running. Another thing that I forgot to mention that was really important and allowed us to grow is as we were delivering shoes, we were telling everyone what we were doing. Even from like the second, third, fourth pair, we were like, hey, we're resellers. This is what we do. Let us know if you're looking for any more pairs. And then they would say, actually, I just bought this pair from you. I'm also looking for this. I'm also looking for that. And we kept a spreadsheet of what people were looking for. And then if we found that stuff in the thrift, we'd reach back out to them. Relationships. Hey, I know you were looking for a men's 11 pair of Nike runners. I have a pair, it's $25, so you're interested in seeing it? And they would say, yeah. I would send them a photo, and they'd say, you know what, I'll take it. Boom, then the sales started coming a little bit more. Build those relationships. Also, here's that pro tip wrapped into one. Tell everyone what you do. Some people get, I shouldn't tell anyone I'm a reseller. I shouldn't. Tell everyone, managers of stores, people at the thrift, people you run into at the grocery store. Tell everybody because doors will open up that you can't even imagine. We had a gentleman reach out to us in the first year of us being resellers saying, hey, I'm not interested in posting my shoes for sale, but I've got a big collection. Would you guys maybe want to sell them for me? We showed up at this guy's house and he had 2 rooms full of old Jordans. Old meaning really good condition, but like dope Jordan 1s. He had just like, we were like, no way, this is insane. But because he had seen us posting a bunch of shoes, he knew that we were people that knew what we were doing. We ended up selling the majority of his inventory at a crazy good price for him. He made a ton of money, we made some money, and then we established ourselves even more in the local community. Let me dive into some of these questions. Ali says, hey Ryan, I hope you're having a good Monday. Wondering your thoughts on the new Mercari fee structure coming soon. Will it change your business? So Ali, I'm not sure if by fee structure you mean shipping, because the shipping fees are going up, or if you may know something that we don't know about. Is Mercari upping their fees? I don't think they're gonna up. Do you know anything about that? So if you're talking about fee structure in terms of shipping, let's just pretend that's what you're talking about, because I haven't heard anything about them increasing from their 10% up. There's always been increases in shipping in the last 3 years. There's always going to be ups and downs and increasing. As a full-time reseller, there's going to be these walls that you run into, and it will not break you if you're just always looking for solutions. You definitely have to keep in mind if shipping costs more, you have to take that into consideration when sourcing. So maybe a pair that you would source, maybe the comps aren't high enough with the new shipping, so you got to take that into consideration. But as a full-time reseller, you always got to make small pivots. Maybe, this is generally speaking, maybe it means you don't use Mercari anymore. Maybe you switch to a marketplace that has smaller fees, or not. Maybe you just make that small pivot. So if you're talking about the shipping fees, they're not. There's so many messages coming in. Oh, they're adding a 2.9% fee. So not a huge deal, Carlos says, but something that I'm glad that you brought it up, Ali, and thank you for clarifying, Carlos. It sounds like they're adding what a lot of other marketplaces do have. I mean, StockX has this. I'm pretty sure eBay has it. I don't want to talk about eBay because we're not as seasoned, but connect with some other. I'm pretty sure they have that as well. So it makes sense because they were probably eating the cost of some of those credit card transactions. It's not a monster change, but it is something to keep in mind. It will affect certain margins. It's not a game changer by any means, but keep an eye on that when you're sourcing. So now instead of 10%, you want to add what looks like Carlos said, we'll just call it a little over 3. So we'll call it 14%. Just keep that in mind. Shoot high. Consider it like 15% fees on Mercari so that when you're sourcing, take that into consideration when looking at comps. Let's see here. How to avoid buying fake sneakers. Maroc7, really good question. I'm gonna answer your question with a quick story. So after we met that first individual who was like, hey, do you want to sell my collection of Jordans? That doesn't happen very often, obviously, but we were established as big resellers in the area. Another reseller reached out to us and said, hey, I've got a big collection as well. We went and looked at it. At this point in the first year, we were not as good at telling real shoes versus fake shoes. So we went and looked at these shoes. There was a few things that started to look a little off. We started doing research. I mean, he had tons and tons of shoes, and if they were real, they would have been super dope. We started asking questions. He said, yeah, I've bought these over the last 20 years. They're all real. And then we started doing more and more research, and we trusted our gut. There was this feeling that he might not have been truthful with us, and our naivete and not understanding as much as we should have, real versus fake. This is exactly what we did. We jumped onto YouTube and Instagram and we started learning, watching hours and hours of real versus fake videos, talking to high what's the word I'm looking for? Like people that sell a lot of hype shoes, said, what should we look out for? And then we realized, holy smokes, I can tell that these are fake because of X, Y, and Z. It all comes down to research. So we told the guy, no, we're not gonna sell your shoes. They're not real, they're not authentic. We only sell real, authentic shoes. The minute that you can see, oh, super chat coming in from Kevin Williams, 7 Williams. Been following for a while. You two are amazing. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for all the content you share. It's really changed my family's life. That means the world to us, that you not only listen, but you took the action. It's all on you. Of course, we're sharing what's working for us, but tons of people listen to what we say and they don't take action. So Kevin or Seven, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, thank you so much for taking action and being another example of what it looks like when you take action and you provide for your family. We're not the only ones. There's thousands and thousands of amazing people. Mr. and Mrs. Seven Williams, you are one of those people. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for watching our content. We're going to continue to do that and answer questions and share what's working for us as we build. I mean, by no means are we perfect. By no means do we know everything, but the stuff that we do know, we're going to share for absolutely free so people can leapfrog some of the mistakes that we have made and get closer to wins. When someone reaches out to you, remember this story that we told you where one person had all authentic stuff and it was really great, and one person had all fake stuff and we had to say no. Even though we really, really wish that the second person's stuff was all real, because it would have been super dope. Yo, huge shout out to Carpe Diem for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much for throwing that up in the chat. Listen to these stories and then leapfrog our mistakes. Do your due diligence. Just because someone has 100 pairs and they want you to sell them and not them, doesn't mean you should just do it. You got to make sure it's authentic, make sure there's room to make a profit on that inventory. We do have videos here on our YouTube channel talking about our consignment business, how we started it, how we've built some really great relationships. And just like sourcing, and when we're sourcing shoes, we say no to 95% of the shoes that we see. Just when it comes to consignment, we say no to 95% of the people that want to give us shoes to sell, because most of the time it doesn't make sense. But some of the time it does make a lot of sense. All right, guys. Carpe Diem, thank you very, very much for the kind words and for the super chat. Whoa, we got some light, super bright. Lindsay, open up the window. It's a beautiful, no, that's good. Guys, we're getting real. We're just under an hour into this. Thank you. Hey, this is my beautiful wife right there. She's watching the US Open, and we are live. This series is gonna be called TF100P. That stands for the first 100 pairs. We wanna focus on brand new resellers. We wanna get you your first 100 sales. You obviously are welcome if you've sold more than 100 pairs. You're obviously welcome to share what's working for you in the comments below. We'll probably try to bring some guests on. Maybe we'll have like a full-time eBay shoe reseller on there, because it's something that we don't do, just to add more value. We'll have other Poshmark sellers, other Mercari sellers. Maybe we can get Not Your Dad's CPA on here to do a tax Q&A. We want to do live stuff though. We want to do live. There'll be different times, but they'll always be live. It's the way that we like to interact with you, and it also brings up some really, really great conversation, and that's only possible because there's you guys. There's 75 of you guys chilling in here with us, and you guys ask great questions, which brings in better conversation. The content's not as good when it's just Lindsay and I spitting out what we've done. Or watching the US Open. Matt Rnzy's like, must be a commercial break from the US Open. Guys, it is a commercial break. Yep. All right, guys, put your questions in the comments below. We're gonna probably wrap up in the next 10 minutes so you guys can get out there and do some selling. Present day, guys, we are selling roughly 25 to 30 pairs per day. Again, this is titled How We Got Started as Full-Time Resellers, but we want to justify why we're even able to talk about this. We started with $0 and only Facebook Marketplace, and we've grown a six-figure business and then some from there. Sean, have you thought about buying and reselling other stuff? Yeah, great question, Sean. So we've tested other marketplaces in the very, very beginning, the first 6 months. We were doing a lot of shoes, but we tested clothes, we tested electronics, we tested wooden bowls. There was a time where we were selling a bunch of wooden bowls on Facebook Marketplace. Lindsay is a pro when it comes to wooden bowls. But see, again, the question comes to a really good point and something that you guys should learn. As a full-time reseller, it's important that you enjoy what you do. If you hate shoes, meaning you don't like going and looking for them, you either don't like cleaning them, you don't like researching them, you don't like talking about them, you shouldn't be a full-time shoe. It doesn't mean you can't wear shoes. It just means you shouldn't be reselling shoes. You should find a category that you actually enjoy interacting with, all parts of it. The worst thing that you can do is say, I'm going to be a full-time reseller, go buy a bunch of stuff, never list it, and then you become a hoarder and it's just sitting. in your place, or you have a storage unit with a bunch of stuff that you haven't listed, because that makes no sense. You spent your hard-earned money on that stuff. You should sell that stuff. We realized early on that we did not enjoy sourcing clothes. We did not enjoy photographing clothes. We didn't enjoy electronics. We didn't, meaning buying and selling. And we loved shoes. So we narrowed it down and we got really, really, really good at shoes. Now, you can be a successful selling everything, but in our experience, if you want to be a full-time, consistent, making serious money reselling, you have to get real good in categories. And so for us, we've built our entire income around reselling shoes. We've tested other stuff and then dropped it off. The margins were great on clothing. We just started dreading sourcing and started dreading photographing. And when we're dreading part of the scenario, you start creating excuses of why not to do it. Nantique, yes, this will be posted on YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. That's why we're going to be doing these live Q&As and these episodes here on YouTube, so that you can go back and jump in if you've missed it. What is the most expensive pair you've ever sold? Cap, we get this question all the time. It was $400 and something. It was a pair of New England Patriots Nike Air Force One RKK Flyknits, and we actually sold two pairs each for $400+ to the same buyer. Now that was a drop that was at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play. We had to, stay up all night in line, and we got the first pair. We've also sold another pair of Jordans on Poshmark for over $400. I think two pairs actually. We sold a pair of Jordan 4s and a pair of Bread 11s for $400. Now I can't remember if it was Bread 11s was Poshmark or Mercari, but we've sold 4 pairs each for $400+. Those are so in the $400 to $500 range. In between $400 and $500 is the most expensive pairs we've sold. But there's been dozens and dozens of times where we've bought a pair in the thrift for less than 10 and sold it for $100+. That's not common, but we've done that because that margin is the best margin. Here's something that will help you guys if you're just starting off and you want to become a full-time reseller. Buying shoes for under $10 at the thrift that have no rips or tears, that are name brand, that original insoles, good tread, no funky smell, and selling them for $25 on Facebook, you can build a full-time business just doing that. Buy under $10, sell for $25 locally, boom, you're off and running. Keep regurgitating that money, pull money out when you need to pay your bills, and just keep doing that. But here's the thing, most people do not have the consistency, or maybe they get bored with it, or they are only looking for these home runs, like we said, buy for 10 and sell for 100. But if you want to build an actual pay all your bills this month business, well, it's the end of this month, but if you want to, what month is it? It's going to be September. If you want to pay all your bills in September, you can very easily do that. Easily meaning you got to work hard, but you got to be consistent. Buy under $10, sell for $25 locally. Boom, 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 boom. Go. Christine, how do you determine the cost you sell each pair at? Just by looking at other similar listings online. It's a really, really good question, Christine. So in the beginning, we didn't understand what comps were, but our selling price was so good at $25 a pair, it was easy to snowball our buying budget and snowball our sales. This is super important if you want to be a full-time reseller. In our opinion, you have to understand the market value, and I do this. The market value goes up and down on every single marketplace, and for the same exact pair of shoes, there's a different market value on every marketplace. So a pair of Nike Air Max might sell for, $150 on StockX or Poshmark, but you can't even sell it for $60 on Facebook Marketplace, or you can't even sell it for $100 on Mercari. So the way that you do that is you look up the comps of that shoe on that marketplace that you want to sell it. So if you're in the thrift, yes, this takes a lot longer in the beginning, but you get better at it, and you see a pair of Nike Air Max, for example, you look up that shoe on, if you're selling on Poshmark, and you go to the sold listings, you get as strict as the size, the color, the style. If you want, the stricter the better, and you see how much they're selling for. If they're selling high enough compared to your buy cost, that's a good indication that they're gonna be profitable. You still have to create a good listing by taking well-lit photos and write a thorough description, but that's good. If you're buying a pair for $10 and you're seeing that they're only selling for 20 on the marketplaces you're using, then after fees, you're not gonna make any money. It makes no sense. Our business model is built around doubling our money, worst case scenario after all fees and shipping. So if we buy a pair for $10, worst case scenario, we're getting back $20, $25 if they don't sell within 90 days on the marketplace, after the fees, after the shipping, after the taxes, everything of that nature. Most of the time, we're 4, 5, 6, 7xing our money. We currently run about a 70% profit margin, just to give you guys some actual real numbers. We appreciate you, Steven. Stay blessed as well, my friend. Have you been required by Mercari? Oh, this is a good question, Carpe Diem. Have you been required by Mercari to verify your identity? My wife fully verified herself 4 months ago. All things being considered, she's been doing really well. Then randomly a request for verification. So in your question is your answer, and we'll explain why. When you first start off on Mercari, you don't really need to verify anything because a lot of people start and they never do anything else. So what Mercari does is they wait till you get some sales in. They say, okay, you're gonna actually be using our marketplace. Then for tax purposes, once you cross over a certain threshold, I'm not sure exactly what that threshold is, but it sounds like your wife hit that threshold. You then have to verify for tax purposes. So yes, that is a real thing. You're not getting scammed. We've put, what is it? We put our tax information, our IDs. They have to be able to send you a 1099, so they need your social security number. And it makes sense that there was 2 sets of verifications for you and your wife, because the first one was like, okay, you're actually using this. And then the second one, you must have crossed over that threshold where they're like, holy smokes, you're doing really well. We want to make sure to send you your tax info. So now you have to verify even more. We did it all through Mercari, right? Rnzy basically runs this entire show, so I have to verify it to make sure. And it is safe to do that. So the last 3 years we've done all our taxes from our sales on Mercari, through our sales on Poshmark, through our sales on Facebook. Even though the Facebook stuff's a little bit harder to do, we've done all of our taxes and made sure all of our ducks are in a row. So yes, the long-winded answer is that is normal, and yes, absolutely do it so that you get your 1099, so that you make sure your business is running smoothly. Congratulations, Carpe Diem, on the $5,000 in sales. Boom. Love seeing and hearing people hit milestones. That's amazing. Michael, how do you get the funky smells out? That's a really good question, and this is gonna blow your mind. We do not bring home shoes that have funky smells. That's the easiest way to get rid of funky smells. Let me repeat. We do not source shoes that smell bad. And you might say, oh my gosh, all the shoes smell bad in my thrift. Yes, some shoes smell bad in the thrift. Yes, we do not bring those home. Guys, all the shoes I showed you, up there is our sneaker loft. We have roughly 2,000 pairs of shoes up there. We live right here. We live where all the shoes are. We're not gonna bring home any stinky, funky, definitely no cigarette smell, definitely no funky odors. It's not coming in this house. So don't bring funky shoes home. And don't think just because a shoe is great but smells horribly that you're gonna get rid of that funky smell. Yes, there's home remedies. Yes, there's certain things you can do. But in our experience, it's best to leave the funky shoes in the thrift or wherever you are, because funky smells have a way of continuing to be funky, and plus you don't want to deal with that, in our opinion. Now, again, I just said that there are ways that you can. That's just putting in way more sweat equity. You can. There's certain, again, we don't do it, but we've seen other people do it, where there's basically smoke bombs that you can light up that get rid of smell, apparently. I don't know. We're only going to talk about what we do, and our recommendation is leave the funky shoes in the thrift. Let's see what else we got. Does it look weird smell? Oh, that's the next part of it, Sierra. Really good question. Yes, it looks weird smelling the shoes, and you don't bury your face in the shoe. Do the waif. You can even turn your head like you're looking over here and just wave it by your nose. Do the waif test. You can tell without sticking your nose in. What's even more weird is bringing stinky shoes home. That's way more weird than smelling a shoe when you're in the thrift. Now, again, we're not saying that you have to like bury your nose in the shoe to see if it smells. You can hold the shoe as if it was a delicious pizza that you're smelling. Just hold the shoe underneath your nose, and yeah, talk about sweat equity. Just hold it underneath. You can smell it in the thrift. Now, it's a little bit harder present day because we're wearing masks. Hopefully you're all wearing masks. We're in the thrift with our mask on, and so it's a little bit harder. We got to get a little bit closer to smell. But the reality is, guys, we're not bringing funky shoes home. No questions. No giving up on that standard. That standard is so high because we bring all these shoes into our home. But yeah, smell test at home. We've actually seen people that have seen us from afar that have seen us either on YouTube or Instagram, and they've seen us smelling shoes, and they said, oh, now I feel comfortable coming up and saying hi to you because I've seen you smell shoes, which now nothing's embarrassing for me just coming up and saying hi, and we'll do that. Come up and say hi to us, and even if we're in the middle of smelling a shoe. Dustin, what up, Dustin? He says, do you print shipping labels on actual labels? What kind of labels do you recommend? It's a really good question, Dustin. What?
The label is number 228.
So the official name, we get free shipping labels from USPS. It's officially called the 228 label, the USPS 228 label, and basically it's a 4x6 sticker label. So in our wireless inkjet printer that we got, we put the labels in as if they were pieces of paper, and then we configure our printer to print on 4x6, and then when we're printing on Mercari and Poshmark, it prints it out, and then it's a sticker. We just peel it off and slap it on the free USPS boxes that we get. Of course, there's a bunch of other ways. In the beginning, we used just regular pieces of paper. We'd go to like Walmart clearance section when they had reams of paper discounted, so you could get like a whole ream for a couple bucks. And so we were printing all our labels off and cutting out the label and then literally taping them on the box. Obviously that cost a couple pennies more than the free shipping labels, but no excuses. That's how we do it present day. We don't use a thermal printer. We've done the cost analysis. Plus we've heard people have a lot of headaches with glitches in there. Again, but you can also buy a thermal printer and be very successful, but that's not what we do. You're welcome, Dustin. It's a really good question. Sean, gotta go. Stay blessed. Thank you so much for checking in. Appreciate the time. We're gonna wrap up in the next couple minutes. It's been a little over an hour. You guys have been chilling with us for 67 minutes. We're not sure exactly when we're gonna be doing these, but we are gonna do multiple per week. Next one, we think, since this is kind of how we got started, we're gonna talk, we're gonna probably have the conversation more around sourcing, on getting profitable inventory, where to go, what to look for, things of that nature. In the meantime, you can go to our Instagram at Rnzy now, and we share all the brands that we look for. We share all the places that we go to source. There's posts everywhere. Burnsy says, when looking at comps, do you look to see what's selling the most within the last week, typically, or a month? It's a really good question, Burns, and we don't dive too much into. You have to make decisions based on how you are reading the market, and you're gonna get better at it. Now, if there's 0 sales of a pair of shoes, you can easily argue, well, this either hasn't been listed on this marketplace, or it's that's actually a big red flag. The pair might not be real, or it's just not selling well at all. So you have to, again, as I just explained, there's different perspectives on all of it. Make a decision, have a backup plan. For example, let me give you a real world example instead of talking hyperbole. If we're looking at comps on Poshmark, here's exactly what we do. And we see, here's a pair of Nike and it's selling, we bought it for 10 bucks and it's selling for 40, 50, 60 bucks. All right, we like that, we like that. But our backup plan, if that pair doesn't sell for 40, 50, 60 bucks within 30, 60 days, we're gonna sell it on Facebook Marketplace for 25 or 30 bucks. See, that backup plan still has us doubling our money. Now, if you're only using one marketplace, you have to respect that. And if it's not selling high enough, now let's see if that same pair was only selling for 20 or 30 bucks and it cost us 10, we'd probably pass on it, because that's not leaving us enough room to negotiate. It's not leaving us enough room if we have to send offers to Lakers. And then we have it listed somewhere, and if we back up, we might as well just list it on Facebook right off the bat. There's no upside to waiting, if that makes sense. Thank you, Alex, for the $1.99. Gotta go. Have a great evening. Have a great evening as well. Lindsay says goodbye as well. She's Alex said hi. I want to say hi to you. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. So again, now in your scenario, you have to evaluate. Now you make a decision. Maybe you make a decision and say, hey, I'm okay if a pair is selling for 30 when I'm buying it for 10, and then you see what happens. The next time you go in and see the comps at 30, you might say, you know what? I don't like that. I'd rather have bigger margins. I want to go for the ones that are selling for 50 or 60. Or you might be okay with the comps at 30. That's what we mean by boom. Get the ball rolling. Have your mistakes. Here's the thing I'm going to end with. Have your mistakes still be profitable. Do not buy shoes for $10 if they're selling for $10 on the marketplace. Do not do that. Do not buy a pair of shoes for $25 if you plan to sell the shoes, worst case scenario, for $25 on Facebook Marketplace. Your worst case scenario should not be get my money back. Your worst case scenario should be I'm going to make maybe not as much profit as I would like, but I'm still going to make a profit. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you buy sneakers without insoles? No, we do not buy sneakers without insoles. Yes, we have seen resellers sell shoes. Yes, we have purchased shoes and then realized when we got home they don't have their original insoles. Someone else, sometimes our local thrifts will put random insoles in there. We didn't realize that till probably year 2. That's a different scenario. And then what we try to do is we try to find, we'll try to basically try to match up if we've accidentally done that. That's something that we've gotten real better. That's how we've improved as resellers, making sure that it's the actual original insoles. Just because it's got an insole doesn't mean it's the original one. I can think of one time where I made a mistake where I thought a pair was Keen because I basically only looked at the insole and there was it said Keen on the insole, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I got home and it was like some no-name brand, and it wasn't actually Keen. They had just put a Keen insole in, and so obviously, you know, we didn't resell that shoe, but we kept the Keen insole because then if we came across another Keen that needed an insole, there we were good to go. So again, the reason that we say don't source shoes without original insoles is because you're just creating the potential for more headaches. There will be resellers that tell you, oh, I sell shoes without insoles and it works for me, but I promise you, the person who buys a pair of shoes from someone that doesn't have insoles isn't going back to that person right off the bat to buy more shoes from them. The person that does buy shoes and they're complete and there's no rips or tears and they got a great price, they're more likely to come back and buy more shoes from you. It's less likely for someone to say, hey, I bought a great pair of shoes that had no insoles from this person. And they're telling their friend, and the friend's like, what? You bought a pair of shoes? Oh, I had my own insoles. And the person's like, yeah, I don't want to buy insoles and buy the shoes. I want to buy shoes that have their insoles. If you want to grow quicker and be more consistent, stick to sourcing shoes that have their original insoles. I mean, again, that's 99% of the time. If you come across some like stupid, crazy, ridiculous, expensive, rare shoes that are authentic, that don't have their insoles, that sell, like, you should probably pick those up. And then there's places you can purchase the original insoles and things of that nature. Again, there's so many different ways to win. We're just trying to share with you guys what works for us. All right, guys. That's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it up in the next 60 seconds. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to finish with this last question from Matt Danley Dan. Because this is perfect. This is why we titled this one. Matt Danley Dan says, when did you realize you can do this full time? Was it a mindset shift or was it just based on profits? Matt Danley Dan, we went full time before we sold our very first pair of shoes. This is how we're going to wrap up this video. Zero excuses. We went full time. We didn't know anything. We talked about this at the very beginning. Lindsay was fired from a job. I had a job I didn't really enjoy. We were pushed to a scenario where we said, hey, let's try this thing. And if it works, great. And if not, we'll go back to getting a job we don't like that may pay the bills and, you know, ugh and shrug when we got to go to work. June of 2017, we said, let's do this. In June of 2017, we paid all of our bills, only reselling on Facebook Marketplace, and we were off and running. We have not looked back since. Yes, it's a mindset. No, you don't need any money to go full-time. You just got to have no excuses. I'm telling you, no excuses. Every second that you spend blaming something outside of yourself is a second you should spend in finding a solution. We've done that since the very beginning, and we're telling you to do it right now, and you can do it right now. You could quit your job. Now, if you have kids and you have like all this stuff, you got to make the decision that's best for you. But if it's only a mindset thing, You can be a full-time reseller starting tomorrow. You leave all excuses behind. If you've got nowhere else to ask questions, ask us questions. We share every single thing that we do and how we do it. And we talk to hundreds of resellers through Instagram and YouTube every single day answering questions. It's all free. As long as you don't message us only complaining. If you're frustrated and say, hey, I'm frustrated because this is happening, how do you think I can solve it? We're all in. We'll go back and forth with you all day. If you message us and say, this sucks, no one's buying my shoes, and you don't ask any questions, we don't have any time for people who are complaining. We don't have any time for people who are blaming someone outside of themselves. If you're ready to rock and roll and you want to do this full time, just follow along. Look at all of our content. We'll connect you with other resellers that are doing the same thing, and the adventure will continue. Guys, this series is called TF100P, the first 100 pairs. It's built for you. It's built for new resellers. It's built for beginning resellers. It's built for people who are adding shoe reselling into their reselling business. We're gonna answer all your questions. We're gonna be going on live here on YouTube 2 or 3 times per week. And we're just gonna be letting it rip. We're gonna grow with you guys, but we needed the experience before we started going real hard. Thank you guys for hitting that like button. Thank you guys for asking questions. Thank you for spending time. That's the craziest thing you can ask from another human is, will you spend some time with me? And you guys are doing that, and we really do appreciate it. The sun is setting here in Portland, Maine. What time is it? It's like 7:15. We go to bed early here in Maine because we get up early. We're gonna probably watch some sporting events, maybe some replays of the US Open from earlier today. We're going to be interacting with people that are buying shoes from us this evening, and we're gonna wake up and do it all over again. From the both of us, thank you so much for your time and attention. And until the next video, guys, we hope you enjoy each and every single step. Wait, I don't know how to turn it off.
The X always.
The X.